Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? It's Pip Surfer with another daily update for the Cowabunga system. Today's Friday, February 26, 2010. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, it's a Friday and I'm actually doing an update. So it is a big surprise, but again, I want to make more of an effort to try to update on Fridays and Mondays because they are valid trading days. I just don't post updates sometimes just because it gets a little time consuming. But I do want to try to make more of an effort, again, to be consistent and to give you guys more steady examples. That way you can really start to get in the routine of trading the Cowabunga system. Alright, so with that said, if this is your first time watching this video, click on the link right above it. It's going to say, if this is your first time visiting this blog, read this first. It turns orange when you highlight it. And if you click that link, it's going to give you the rules of the system. It's a nice long page. That should take you some time. But after you read it again, and then read it one more time, just so you can get a good grip on the rules. And once you have that established in your brain, then come back and these videos will make a lot more sense, because I don't go into too much detail on the basics of the system. It's just basically how to apply it to the market. So once you have the rules down, come back, watch how we use it, and then if you have questions on the application of it, feel free to ask, and that'll help you out a lot more. Okay, but for all you regulars out there, just want to welcome you back. Thanks for coming over and over back to this page and back to these videos. Hope they're helping you out with your trading. First thing I want to do is I have my 15-minute chart, my 4-hour chart open for the cable, and I'll move it back to before midnight so you can see what it looked like. And we've been seeing a nice downtrend lately. The most recent trend change candle was back on the 23rd of February. And it was for a downtrend, and since then we haven't had any new trend change candles. Therefore, at the start of our day, we were only looking for short trades. And if I move my chart forward through today's action, you can see no new trend change candles during our trading time. Therefore, the trend was still in place for that downtrend, and we continue to only look for short trades the entire day. All right, so that's pretty much it for determining the trend. Again, it's pretty simple when you don't have a trend change candle taking place in the middle of your session. That's the only time it can kind of get a little weird. And so now I open up my 15-minute chart because that's where we're going to actually take our entries. But before I start, I want to take a look at our news events for the day. So you can just click on the Tools tab of babypips.com. It should automatically bring up the news for the day. Just double check it though. And also make sure this time zone drop-down bar is set to your correct time zone so that you have the right times, because that's really what's important, is we want to know what times these news are coming out, because we don't want to be in the markets at those times. And again, we're looking for news that affects either the sterling or the dollar, so we're looking for news that relates to the UK or US. Again, let's look. 4:30, that's usually a prime time for UK news, and as you can see, we had a whole bunch of them today. And whenever you have that many news events coming out at one time, you kind of want to stay out of it at that point. But a highlight at 4:30 was the GDP for the UK. So 4:30 is definite time to write down. 7:30 we have a U.S. speaker, the Fed speaking. It's not really important, so I'm not worrying about it. 8:30 is a prime time for the U.S. As far as reports go, and you can see that we had quite a few reports coming out as well for the U.S., and most notably the GDP as well as personal consumption. So again, 4:30, 8:30, you want to watch out for that. 9:45, Chicago PMI can be important sometimes, so I always jot that down. That was at 9:45. 9:55, consumer confidence is usually a big deal, so you want to write that down as well. And then finally at 10 a.m., we had existing home sales. And then all these other ones are speakers and that sort of thing, which isn't really a big deal. The only speaker I pay close attention to is Bernanke, especially if he's talking about something really important. So, but all these other Fed speakers, not really a big deal. Again, most of the time. I don't want to say it's set in stone, but most of the time. All right, so those were the news events. Again, to recap: 4:30, 8:30, 9:45, 9:55, and 10 o'clock were the times to watch out for. All right, so now that I have my news events on hand, I have it on my notepad. You can set an alert, whatever. I'm ready to start my day, and again, I'm only taking short trades, so that's what I'm going to be looking out for. So I'm moving my chart forward one candle at a time to give you what my thinking process is during the the market as they move along. And here at 145, we get a crossover to the short side. RSI is below 50, stochastic's trending down. MACD is positive from the candle before and has gone negative. So this is a valid entry. Again, we don't have news until 4:30, so that's quite a, it's some time there for our trade to move on there. So we can go ahead and enter here at the close of the candle, or as close to it as possible. The entry would be at 52.63. Your stop's going to be at the most recent swing high at 52.94. And your target is going to be, let's see, you're at 52.63. Your target will be at the near 0.50 level, so it'd be at 52.50. Now, that's only 13 pips of potential profit. It's not that much, especially when you factor in the spread. So in this case, I'm going to want to go for the same amount of pips I'm risking on the trade. So the way you calculate that is you just take your stop, which is 52.94, and you subtract it from your entry. So what you're going to do is take 52.94 minus our entry, which is again at 52.63, and you get 31 pips. So you just subtract 31 from your entry, which is 52.63 minus 31. You get a target at 52.32, and that gives you a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio. And again, I as a rule of thumb, when if I'm only getting about 10 pips after the spread is taken account, then I'm going to want to go for a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Anything above 10 is fine. And again, your spreads will vary depending on what broker you have. But for me, I just want to go for, make it worth my while, basically. That's the reason why I went for the 1-to-1 here. All right, so now if I move forward, price does move down a little bit, gets kind of close to hitting our target. But unfortunately, we do get stopped out right here at 4 o'clock. So that wasn't really fun, but you just want to jot that down on your trade journal and continue to move on. Again, it's 4 o'clock. I know news is coming out at 4:30, and there's the news candle. Definitely made some noise there. Now, right after the news candle, we did get a crossover. RSI is below 50, stochastic trending down. Again, MACD went from from positive to negative. So this is another valid entry. This candle's at 4:45 and closes at 5, so it's past the news candle, which is fine. Our next news event isn't until 8:30, so we have plenty of time there for the trade to develop. So you want to enter at the close of the candle or as close to it as possible. In this case, it's 52.54. Stops at the most recent swing high at 53.19. And so our entry's at 52.54. The nearest 0.50 level is at 52.50, which again, it's 4 pips, not including the spread. So obviously you want to go for a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio here again. So you just take 53.19 and subtract it from your entry at 52.54, and you get 65 pips. Now you just take 52.54 and subtract 65 from that, and you get a target at 51.89. Okay, so now we're ready for our trade to move. Basically, we're just watching it at this point. Again, our news isn't until 8:30, so that's really the only thing we're going to watch out for. And you can see that our target does get hit right at 8 a.m. And it doesn't make a clean break, so you just want to get out as close to it as possible. Once my target was hit, I knew news was coming out at 8:30 anyways, so I mean, no use in holding it any longer. I just went ahead and exited right, as it hit my target, because news is coming out. So again, use your discretion there. If there was no news, then I'd, see what's going on. But again, you're going to exit anyway, so just try to grab as many pips as you can. So I just went ahead and exited at my target. Again, so here, that's a win. Just chalk it up. Here's 8:30, doesn't really do anything. Again, now the market starts to move. We're still only looking for short trades. You can see the market does retrace back up. We get close to having an entry there. It's really close, but then the market does keep moving up, and that's pretty much it. But anyways, it doesn't even matter because that's past noon, so it wouldn't even make a difference. So again, 2 entries, 1 loss, 1 win, but the win was big, so it made up for our loss, and we got a profit there. So that's pretty much it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them on the blogs or post it in the forums, and I'll try my best to answer them. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on the next update. Cowabunga, dude.